Title of story: The Willow Creek Mystery, a case that shook the entire nation. Script as stars. Willow Creek was a quiet American town known for its peaceful mornings, friendly neighbors, and the kind of silence that made people feel safe. But everything changed on a cold November night when something happened that would soon become one of the most mysterious crime cases the country had ever seen. What began as a missing person report turned into a nationwide investigation involving local police, state authorities, and eventually the FBI. Because what they found was darker, stranger, and far more complicated than anyone expected. The case began when 29-year-old Emily Carter, a schoolteacher loved by everyone in town, suddenly disappeared without a trace. She was last seen leaving the Willow Creek Community School at 5:12 p.m. The security camera captured her walking toward her car, smiling, holding a stack of papers. But that was it. After that moment, there was no sign of her. Her car was found still parked in the school lot, keys still inside, and her phone on the passenger seat. There were no signs of a struggle, and no witnesses reported anything unusual. It was as if Emily simply vanished into thin air. The community was shaken. Emily was not the kind of person to disappear. She had no enemies, no financial issues, no relationship problems, nothing that suggested she wanted to run away. Her friends described her as responsible, loving, and extremely organized. Her sister reported her missing the next morning when Emily didn't show up to open her classroom. Police quickly began their search, but the case took a strange turn almost immediately. 3 days into the investigation, drones conducting an aerial search found something unusual in the woods, near the town border, a small clearing surrounded by trees, with several strange, circular patterns carved into the ground. The patterns looked deliberate, almost like symbols. At the center of the clearing were pieces of Emily's belongings: her broken watch, one of her earrings, and the papers she was carrying the day she disappeared. But there was still no sign of Emily herself. As detectives continued their investigation, they uncovered something even more puzzling. Security camera footage from a gas station 14 miles away showed Emily's silhouette walking along the road at 2:47 a.m., nearly 10 hours after she disappeared. But the footage was blurry, and the figure never looked directly at the camera. When police zoomed in, the outline looked like Emily, but there was something off. The person seemed disoriented, moving slowly, almost like they were in a trance. Then, just as mysteriously as she appeared, the figure walked off into the darkness and vanished again. With pressure mounting, Willow Creek police contacted the FBI. Agents arrived and quickly began piecing together a timeline, but every answer brought new questions. They discovered that Emily had been researching a series of strange noises reported in the woods by local residents: low humming sounds late at night, lights flickering through the trees, and eerie shadows moving between the branches. Emily had mentioned these things to her sister and planned to write about them for a community newsletter. Detectives wondered, was her disappearance connected? A week later, a breakthrough came. A hiker found a torn piece of Emily's sweater on a trail 3 miles from the strange clearing. Search teams expanded the area and soon found something chilling: footprints belonging to Emily, walking in a straight line, as if she was being led by someone or something. But next to her footprints were others, larger, heavier, but with an unusual spacing pattern that didn't match any known shoe type. Investigators were baffled. Forensics analyzed the strange circular patterns at the clearing and discovered traces of metal particles fused into the soil, as if exposed to extremely high heat. But there were no burn marks, no fire damage, nothing that suggested a natural cause. Residents began speculating wildly. Some believed it was a cult. Others thought it was a kidnapping. A few whispered something even stranger: that Willow Creek was hiding something the public wasn't meant to know. The FBI, however, kept things quiet. But behind closed doors, they were beginning to suspect that the case involved advanced technology, perhaps military, perhaps criminal, perhaps something else entirely. They found a second pattern deep in the woods, identical to the first one but much larger. Beneath it were energy readings that made no sense. Something had been there. But no one knew what. 2 weeks after Emily's disappearance, just when hope was fading, police received a call from a truck driver who claimed he saw a woman matching Emily's description walking along Highway 19. She seemed confused, barefoot and staring blankly at the sky. When officers arrived, however, she was gone, leaving only a single footprint in the mud. And then something even stranger happened. A nearby traffic camera captured a bright flash of light at the exact time the truck driver made the call. The flash lasted only half a second, but the camera glitch was identical to the one recorded at the school when Emily vanished. Finally, after 19 days, Emily was found. But not by police. By a farmer whose barn security alarm went off at 3 a.m. When he checked, he found Emily sitting silently in the middle of the barn floor, staring straight ahead. She looked physically unharmed, but mentally distant. She didn't speak for hours. Doctors examined her and found no injuries, no drugs in her system, no signs of trauma. But there was one disturbing discovery. Emily had a strange, perfectly round mark on her upper arm, almost like a burn, but with no blistering or pain. When she finally began speaking, her words only deepened the mystery. She said she remembered walking to her car, hearing a low humming sound, and then everything went black. She described flashes of light, cold air, and voices she couldn't identify. She didn't remember walking on the highway, didn't remember the woods, didn't remember the clearing. Her memory was blank for nearly 20 days. The FBI tried to uncover the truth, but Emily remembered nothing else. Till today, the Willow Creek mystery remains unsolved. The circular patterns disappeared after heavy rain. Emily's mark faded over time. The strange footprints were never identified. And the security camera flashes continue to be analyzed by experts who still cannot explain them. What happened to Emily Carter? Who or what took her? And why was she returned? No one knows. But one thing is certain: Willow Creek will never be the same again.